Okay, let's look into the DNA of the ancient Phoenicians. They've now taken a few of the burial sites that they have found there and done genetic tests onto them and found surprising genetic results. Here we see a recreation or ancient recreation of a Phoenician man here. You can see that he has his white tunic on but with purple trim, for the Phoenicians were known for their Tyrian purple. Also, you can see his reddish or auburn type of hair, and Phoen also refers to red, as in perhaps red hair. And Phoenician is a strange multiple word. Phoenikes in Greek means date palms, and it correlates with this Johnny Appleseed kind of concept of these people that were the ancient merchants and ancient seafarers, far more advanced than most of the others and far flung, way more than most of the others in ancient times. So let's look into the DNA of these ancient merchants of the world. 25-year-old Phoenician DNA linked to rare and ancient European ancestry. Researchers have sequenced the first complete mitochondrial genome of an ancient Phoenician. The results of the studies are the remains of a man called Young Man of Brysa and Arik. He has linked him to a very early and rare haplogroup that has been found in Europe. GenomeWeb reports that the Young Man of Brysa had a mitochondrial genome from the haplogroup U5B21 or 2C1, considered to be one of the most ancient haplogroups in all of Europe and associated with hunter-gatherer populations there. The U5B haplogroup is thought to have risen in Europe between 20,000 and 24,000 years ago out of the people that were there. Lisa Matusu-Smith of the University of Otago in New Zealand and co-leader of the study said in a statement, while a wave of farming peoples from the Near East replaced these hunter-gatherers, some of their lineages may have persisted longer in the far south of the Iberian Peninsula and off of shore islands than were transported to the melting pot of Carthage in North Africa via Phoenician and Punic trade works. So in other words, they had inhabited the Iberian Peninsula, what we know of as Spain and so on, and then migrated in through around the entire Mediterranean using their boat networks and so on. The U5B haplogroup is considered to be rare in modern populations. All of the reported carriers of European ancestry are from Spain, Portugal, England, Ireland, Scotland, the US, and Germany that match this. Professor Matuso-Smith told Phys.org it is remarkably rare in modern populations today, found in Europe at levels less than 1%. But interestingly, our analysis showed that Arik's mitochondrial genetic makeup mostly matches that of the sequences of a particular modern-day individual from Portugal. There is something of a surprise for the researchers who wrote in the journal Pleioles 1. Though it is believed that Carthage was established by colonizers from Tyre in what is today Lebanon, it is unlikely that our Phoenician young man had maternal ancestry that traced back to its founding population, as the haplogroup U5B2C has not been identified in our modern Lebanese samples or in ancient early Neolithic PP&B remains from the Levant. You can see the Caucasian features of the skull here that they're working with. The remains of Arike were discovered in 1994 at Brysa Hill when a gardener happened upon his tomb while preparing to plant a tree for the National Museum of Carthage. Brysa Hill is located in Tunisia at a site which is once a Phoenician acropolis. And you can see this Phoenician acropolis that is here, and there are wells and things that were there, and there's stonework. According to American University of Beirut, the young man's tomb held two sarcophagi carved in sandstone. The left tomb contained the skeleton of a young man lying on his back, his arms bent on his abdomen. The sarcophagus to the right was empty. The young man of Brysa was described as a robust young man, around 5 foot 0.58 feet high, so 5'6", 5'7" or something, with a long skull, broad forehead, and a squarish chin. He was estimated between 19 and 24 years old when he died. Punic inscriptions called him Arish, the beloved one, leading to Ari and the Aryans. Some of the objects found with the remains including 2 Punic amphorae, a Punic lamp, bones of a sacrificial goose, and some small Egyptian ivory amulets. These and other artifacts help to date the tomb to around 500 BC. And so now we take a more direct look upon him here. You can see that in the depiction he's shown with green eyes. Kind of looks like Kenny G a little bit with that nose, but it doesn't have to be so extended. Holding what looks like a prayer bead set. The new study helps provide a little more information about the influential and relatively mysterious Phoenicians. It is known, however, that the Phoenicians were the direct descendants of the Canaanites of the south, Syrian and Lebanese coast, who at the end of the 2nd millennium BC became isolated by population and political changes in the region surrounding them. Indeed, the ancient Phoenicians called themselves Canaan, and so when people try to separate these people as far as the endemic people all the way around the Mediterranean loop there on its eastern side as being Canaanites, but then only some ports of being Phoenician, is really not a correct statement. Despite the fact that Phoenicians were well known in the ancient world and that they have been acknowledged for their links to the early Greek alphabet, there's also a few of their own written texts that have survived the passing of time. This lack of information has led modern historians to mostly rely on Egyptian, Assyrian, Babylonian, Greek, and Roman sources for the data on these ancient people, for they do seem to be quite hidden. Amazingly, that you would find somebody that was so prominent for so long and known so well by so many cultures to have very little knowledge left of them. For Phoenician contains the word phoenix, and it was a bird that had died and risen from the ashes, and now we find later this bird seems to disappear into thin air. But it doesn't. Like, share, and subscribe, guys, and enjoy. We'll go deeper into this and look more into the Phoenicians soon. Peace.